Good day, everybody, and welcome to our Career Talk podcast, sponsored by the School of Business here at Washington University of Science and Technology. My name is Mark Robinson. I'm the Dean for the School of Business and also the host and facilitator of our Career Talk podcast. And today I'm really delighted to bring on one of my professional colleagues, Tammy Alvarez, who for the last 5 to 6 years has been running her own professional coaching business and is about to release a book, her first book, I believe, titled Escaping the Career Trap, Transform Your Apathy into Ambition and Never Hate Mondays Again. And I think that hating Mondays again is something that resonates with everybody who's in a career, looking for a career. Would you say, Tammy?
Oh my goodness, yes, right? So, Mark, thank you so much for the invitation. I'm really looking forward to the conversation today. And my goal is to make sure that all of your listeners never need me or never need us, right? So I'm looking forward to digging in today.
Perfect. So I wanted to start with some introductory information about yourself and how you came to create a Career Winner's Circle. Tell us about that journey.
Sure, absolutely. So I spent my corporate career, I spent about 25 years in and around Wall Street. And I ended my career as a C-level executive, managing about 2,000 people across 36 countries, solving all kinds of problems. In my background, I was a transformational expert. And so every time the proverbial building was burning and everybody was running out, my team was running in. And we loved it, right? I was an adrenaline junkie. This worked. And I really had a thriving career. I ended up working across 11 different functions, everything from sales to audit and everything in between, in 5 different industries. And I did that because I just got bored really fast. And so as soon as I was in a situation where I didn't feel like I was growing, that it was time to make a change. And so I did. And all of this was serving me until I remember I have this one defining moment, and it's actually in the book as well, where I'm sitting in a boardroom. We had just had our earnings call. We missed earnings again, and we got our clock cleaned by the analyst, which is what you would expect. And usually, because this was not an uncommon occurrence, we always miss earnings and we always got beat up. But this time felt different for me in that as we were going through the normal jockeying for position on whose fault it was, I suddenly didn't care. And I just had this feeling of like, I am so over this. And, as in terms of my career, I've always taken risks. And I just felt at this point in time, there was nothing more that I could gain from a corporate experience.
Sure.
So within a few months, I ended up cashing out of Wall Street, moving to a tropical island off the coast of Belize, and starting this coaching company about 6 years ago. Today, we've got 7 coaches. We're serving clients all over the world, and it has been a wild ride for sure.
Wow. Well, that sounds like an interesting journey. I wish all of us would wish to live on a tropical island, raking in the sun rays, sunshine, warm temperatures. But I'm sure for a lot of people, your journey wasn't without a little bit of challenges along the way. Giving up a corporate career and just making a pivot and perhaps doing something that you hadn't thought about doing before.
Yeah, I really hadn't thought about doing it, in a very specific way. What I'd always thought about is in my soft retirement, which is when I was tired of the rat race and all that kind of fun stuff. I'm like, I'll do some coaching, sit on a few boards, and that'll be good to keep me relevant and interested and things like that. But this came about 15 years earlier than I expected. So I had given it zero thought. And what I had found is throughout my career, because quick backstory, and this is interesting given we're talking to an educational institution, but I didn't go to college right out of high school. My parents didn't have money. I didn't have ambition. And so I just started working. And I had the intent of going back to school, once I got my act together and knew what I wanted to do, but I kept getting promoted. And I kept growing. And then I had a family and then all of these other things. And so for me, my career took a very unconventional path. I finally did get my degree when I was at the tender young age of 40. But I did finally accomplish that. But I came through the ranks differently. And I played the game differently because don't kid yourself, this is a game. If you take it too seriously, then you need to rethink about how you're looking at your career. But because I did that, I didn't even realize it, but I was building all of these skills that came naturally to me that really were lacking in so many business professionals that want to get ahead, that are ambitious, that want to just really be able to make that contribution and have that impact and can't figure out how to do it. So what I spent my coaching time doing is really debunking some of the myths, giving people an inside peek of what happens behind closed doors so you can show up differently, and really help them get the most out of their careers at whatever stage they're in.
Yeah. And so I think perhaps the reason you had chosen this title, Escaping the Career Trap. Can you explain to our viewers what you mean by a career trap?
Absolutely. You are in a career trap if you wake up on Monday mornings dreading what you do and aren't taking actions or don't know how to take the actions to get out. If you get that pit in your stomach on Sundays and you're like, I cannot suffer fools one more minute, or I cannot sit through one more mind-numbing meeting without losing it. And so if you're in that situation and you're not taking action to change it, whether it's internally or externally, you're in the career trap because we get stuck in these careers and no one prepares you for this career funk. Right. I'm sure you don't have a class in your MBA, which we should, on, preparing for the mid-career funk and then how to get out of it and how to always stay relevant and dynamic. And so the whole concept is we build this trap for ourselves. We think it's the system. We think it's the way things are. We think it's just, I got to put in my time and I'll get what, people will acknowledge what I've done. And it just doesn't work that way. And so what we talk about is, when we start our career, and some of the people who are listening today may be in this phase where you are full of ambition, you are going to take on the world and everything is going to be amazing. And then eventually the corporate life will beat the ambition out of you. It just will, and that soul crushing grind kicks in. So when you can get that ambition back and get that fire in your belly back, everything starts to change. And that's where the title came from.
Great. And I like it. Transform your apathy, right? We kind of get that. I really don't care, or I don't know how to move forward. Right. And we have the ambition. Well, at one point in our career, we did have the ambition, but now we don't.
Yes. And I think, when we think about ambition and we think about our goals, it's important to realize that there is seasonality in all of the things that we do. And in our career is no exception. And so there may be times in your career where you can take bigger risks and really try and play big. But there's other times where you might want to, hedge a little bit. And, play things a little on the safer side. I know for me, early in my career, didn't have a degree, always was in over my skis in terms of, thankfully, I had great mentors who saw things in me I never knew I could do and put me in these situations. And so, but then when I had my daughter, my husband was a stay-at-home dad. I played things a little safer because I was the breadwinner, and I have gotten fired twice. So I know what that feels like and how scary that is. And so from that perspective, I think we need to also address our seasonality. But the important thing is that comfort is the enemy. And it's easy when things don't hurt to be like, it's good enough. I should be happy because I'm better off than most. But if your spidey senses are tingling and you're like, something's not right, but I just don't know what it is, or I don't love what I'm doing, but I don't know what I would love. Those are the things that you really need to lean into before it's too late.
Right. And those are the things where you need to call in a professional, coach, someone who has been through these kinds of transitions before, helping advise them on the pitfalls, the challenges, but also the rewards about perhaps doing something you really love to do. And I think, as you say in the book, if you do what you love to do, the money will follow.
Yes, it does. And I think a lot of us worry about that, right? My personal coaching, our coaches coach a wide variety of people, but I coach mid to senior level executives that are making a ton of money. So they've got lots of houses and toys and kids in college and ex-spouses they're paying for. So they can't sell everything, live in a yurt and become a barista at Starbucks, right? That's just not an option. So we get stuck in this, especially I come from a financial services background. So the money there is very good. And so you get stuck in, I'm never going to make as much money as I am here. So now I'm stuck because we put all this stuff on us. When really you can make these meaningful pivots and make more money. So, the scarcity mindset gets in the way of a lot of people. And the book covers a lot of how to get out of that scarcity mindset, how to actually practically and pragmatically what exactly to do. So this book isn't kittens and bunnies. It's not esoteric advice. It is steps 1, 2, 3, and 4. Do these and you will get out of the career trap. And so it's very coaching minded in terms of how the book is laid out. And I think my goal is for people who read this, like, this is now your playbook. Right? At every point in time in your career. So whether you are in a situation where you need to leave the organization, whether you're in a situation where you feel like you're being underutilized or your talents aren't being recognized, but you want to stay within the firm, there's ways to grow, and there's ways to grow in place as long as you're growing. And so really that's where the exciting part comes in, is how do you take each situation and make the most out of it for yourself?
Yeah, exactly. We've been speaking with Tammy Alvarez, the author of a forthcoming book, Escaping the Career Trap: Transform Your Apathy into Ambition and Never Hate Mondays Again. One of the things I wanted to ask you about is, why this book? Why now might be the right time to, bring this kind of book out in the marketplace?
The private coaching that we've been doing for the past 6 years has had such an amazing and long-lasting impact on our clients, to the point where I'm even a little surprised. I'm like, this is so cool. It's like, you do it, you put it out there, like, I think it's going to work. And it's obviously all of our clients who lean in and do the work that really make the transformation happen. But especially now, like, there's so much negativity out there. There's so much fear mongering. We've just gotten through just chaos between everybody's working from home forever, and now no one's working from home. Everybody's coming back. And, the multi-generations, we've never had more generations in the workplace at one time.
Yes.
And all of these, the drama that's unfolding and the economic uncertainty and the geopolitical uncertainty, it just feels like, now is the right time to try and get this message out to as many people as possible.
Sure.
Because I do believe if you fix your career, that you will see significant upside in all of your life. And me, Mark, I'm not a kittens and bunnies person. I'm not your wellness coach. But I do believe mindset's very important. However, when your career is not where you want it to be, it impacts other parts of your life. You just spend too much time at work. You associate, especially as an American, you spend a lot of your identity associated with who you are, what you do, who you do it for. And so when that's off, then everything else is off. So if you go and fix the root cause and you start to really step into that thriving career, then the downstream impacts are significant. I've had my clients say my marriage is better. My friends are, they want to hang out with me more because I'm not complaining about work all the time. I'm like, you're not going to find that stuff on our website, but those are the things that really have a bigger impact when you are really focused on having that thriving career.
Right. And that's adds a lot more value, a lot more balance, hopefully a lot less stress in your life. And, by association, your family, as you say, your marriage, everything, is clicking along like clockwork.
Yeah. And we talk a lot in the book too about our relationship with success and failure. Because I think the fear of failure and the fear of things are not going to be better really do hold back a lot of people.
Right.
And one thing I'd love to just, knowledge bomb, your listeners with is to realize that success is a part of failure. Failure is a part of success. You cannot succeed without failing. You just can't. Right. And so if you're avoiding the failures, you're also avoiding the successes. But how do you fail forward? How do you fail in a way that, that you're growing and you're not getting fired and you're not, and you're seen as a leader? And I think that's where the experimental mindset comes in. And so when we stop taking everything so seriously, because most of us are not curing cancer or saving lives, right? But yet we work at a pace that we do, which is ridiculous. And so, so when you realize and you have perspective and you start to take that experimental mindset saying nothing is going to be a complete success, nothing will be a complete failure, but let me do this and see, what does this button do? And kind of start with that. Let's try this. start, stop, continue, right? Let's do something we didn't do, continue the stuff that works and stop the stuff that actually, we got kicked in the teeth on a little bit.
Yeah.
But more people need to build that into their everyday focus. And I think if they did that, then they wouldn't get in the career trap to begin with.
Yeah. Very true. Very true.